Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be giving you some book recommendations for Sad Girl Fall. So this is something that my sister and I just came up with one day as we were joking, because on November 12th we get Taylor Swift's version of Red coming out, and then on the 19th we get Adele's 30 also coming out. So it is just the month of sad girl heartbreak, all those emotions, all those breakup emotions. So these are books that I think that kind of go along with that feeling of just like, you know, that with many different types of heartbreak that comes with the many different types of loves that we share with other people. So these were the book recommendations that I thought kind of fit that atmosphere of just like, you know, lying on the street with like the rain coming down, listening to this album. I wanted to have books that kind of had that kind of feelings that like they generate those feelings when you read them. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So starting out, I first have Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I read this a long time ago, but it's definitely a book that has stuck with me, and I remember just like sobbing when I read it for the first time. But it follows this girl named Lisa who ends up becoming this caretaker for this very like rich man who suffered a injury from one of his like adventurous like things, and so he's wheelchair bound and he is very much kind of contemplating a physician assisted suicide, but she kind of falls in love, and you can kind of see where that goes. I feel like a lot of you guys probably already know this because it was a movie that came out, but yeah, I think this kind of has that kind of like betrayal, heartbreak, like feelings in it. And I remember just crying reading this for the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh, like just that sense of like heartbreak and just sadness and like grief and all those things. I feel like this, oh, and it also has a red cover, so it is fitting for this kind of video. But yeah, I think like it's a really, like, I know it kind of goes into ableism, and like I know there was like some discussions that are well warranted of people who do have these disabilities and saying their life is worth living and all those things, which I do think are very important critiques of this novel. But in terms of like heartbreak and kind of falling in love and having your heart broken, this kind of like, you know, has that kind of theme in it. But again, I do think the criticisms around ableism and all that are well warranted for this book, but nevertheless I still think it kind of, you know, has that feeling of heartbreak and, you know, falling in love and getting your heart broken and all those things. So yeah, and the red cover just really adds to it, I guess. So next, this is also a book that made me cry, but it's also, it kind of showcases the, you know, the power of female friendships, and it is Firefly Lane by Kristin. I read this book again a long time ago, and you can see this book has turned yellow with age because I've had this for so long. But I feel like this one in particular, it shows the ups and downs of, you know, having a lifelong friend, and also kind of the, you know, emotions that come with it. And I think this book does a really good job at showcasing that and showing the power of having, you know, female friendship. So it follows two friends, Kate and Tully, when they, like, over the course of 3 decades, over their, you know, friendship from when they first meet when they're in middle school to university, when they get married, have kids, have careers, and everything in between. And I think, like, again, this is a book that I feel like a lot of people can relate to, just because, you know, we've all had friends in our lives that kind of even may not have been lifelong friends, but fit that where we were in that lifetime, like in our lifetime at that point in our lives. And so it's very much relatable, and I think it is a realistic, you know, view of just like, you know, friendships and like the heartbreaks and all the like betrayal and, you know, how we get mad at each other and like all those things, like all that is embodied with the feelings of friendship, and, you know, everything that, all the emotions that are involved with friendships through the ups and downs are kind of in this book, which even though it's not necessarily like a breakup or like heartache like with a like a significant other, I still think a lot of those emotions are very much parallel to what you kind of go through with a breakup, with a significant other, with friends, and all those things. So yeah, this book wrecked me, and I still need to watch the Netflix TV show of this. Like, I just have been so busy, I haven't been able to watch it. But yeah, this one is a tearjerker, and there also is a sequel called Fly Away as well, which kind of deals with the aftermath of this. But yeah, I highly recommend this book to everyone. I think, like I said, there is something very powerful about a book that showcases, you know, strong female friendships and just like everything. It is a very realistic portrayal of, you know, everything friendships entail. Next, kind of going on into the friendship side of love, I do have Codename Verity, and this is probably one of my favorite YA historical fictions, and I was so obsessed with this book. Like, I have sections underlined, like annotated in here, like my favorite ones, like that I loved, and this book has really stuck with me. Like, it honestly, I've never, like, this was like one of the first like books where I actually like was so, like, I was obsessed with it. It's very haunting, and I think it's very powerful. Even though it's directed towards a younger audience, I still think it is still something adults can really read and, you know, really, you know, enjoy as well. So during this novel, we follow two friends over the course of World War II. We follow Maddie, who is an American who is she joined the army and she helps fly planes, and we also follow Julie, who is a spy. And at the beginning of the novel, Julie has been captured by the Nazis in France and she's being interrogated. So they're trying to find what happened to Maddie, and so Julie recounts everything of their friendship, kind of like, you know, how they met, how they became friends, and then ultimately that led to kind of Maddie dropping Julie off in France to, you know, for espionage stuff. And yeah, this book again also made me cry, and again, same with Firefly Lane, it showcases the power of female friendships and just, you know, again, the heartbreaks that come with, you know, loving someone that much. And I think even though this one isn't like an angry betrayal or anything like that, I still think, you know, the heartbreak and everything that comes with friendships, I think are still very much kind of, you know, important as well, and are very similar to kind of a breakup or anything like that. So this book again is very powerful. Like I said, like, it has stuck with me. I read this, I want to say, back in like 2015, and I want to say, in like, I have like sections like highlighted and all this stuff, and it's really stuck with me. So yeah, like I said, I recommend this book to anyone. Like, it is honestly spectacular. Next up, I feel like this one really embodies the sad girl fall like mentality, and it is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I'm sure we all know about this series, but I feel like the second book in particular really embodies it, especially when Farah has like gone through the events of the first book and now she's trying to adapt to her new life, and you kind of see that, I don't want to spoil this for people who haven't read it, so it's very hard to be like vague about it, but I feel like this really encaptures it, and you can kind of see, especially in the beginning with depression, PTSD, and all those things, and just her unhappiness with her current love situation, which is kind of more abusive than anything else. I think kind of embodies that sad girl fall, and especially like eventually leading up to the events that lead her to go to someplace else. I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to spoil this to anyone, but yeah, so I feel like if you guys know, you know, and I don't want to spoil this for anyone who hasn't read it, but yeah, definitely this series is like, I understand the, like, you know, criticisms, and I agree with the criticisms for these like books, but they are like my guilty pleasure, and this second book is just amazing. So yeah, but I feel like it totally has like this kind of feel to it. So yeah, if you kind of want to feel that sad girl fall, you know, feeling, just read like the first 200 pages of this book and you'll have all those feelings. And lastly, I have The Beauty of Darkness by Mary E. Pearson. Again, this is the third book in the Remnant Chronicles, so I don't want to spoil too much about this, but the main protagonist, Leah, goes through a lot of heartbreak and betrayal throughout the course of this trilogy, and I feel like this book is where you see it really take place and how she has to adjust to it and kind of just learn to stand on her own after everything that she's gone through, because she can't really think about what, you know, her heartbreak or breakup or anything like that, because she has the whole fate of the country that she needs to worry about. And this is actually probably one of my favorite YA fantasy series of all time. I think it is not talked about enough on BookTube, but it is honestly spectacular, and me and my friend love this trilogy, and we were joking, we're like, we need to reread this soon together because we just loved it so much, and I definitely want to reread this in the future, in the near future. But I feel like this one in particular is where you kind of see that betrayal and the little things that build up over the first two books finally like take place and, like, you know, we get the heartbreak and red, you know, emotions. And so yeah, for those who don't know, this follows a girl named Leah who is a princess, and on her wedding day she ends up fleeing with her best friend to this seaside town where she wants to live a normal life. She doesn't want to be, you know, thrown into a marriage with a man that she doesn't know. So it kind of goes off from there. You get the perspective of the prince that she was supposed to marry, and then also an assassin who has been sent to kill her, and it kind of goes off from there. But I feel like I said, we do have a lot of emotions. We have love emotions, the you know blossoming of a new romance, and then ultimately kind of betrayals and heartbreak, and you know, everything that takes place in this final novel, I think, is like, if you listen to the Red album, I think it kind of like, you get all of that emotion in there. So yeah, this is honestly like an amazing fantasy series. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what books you think kind of embody the sad girl fall feel and all those things. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.